In this video, we're going to be in Unit 1.2, Example 5. So right here where it says, evaluate an algebraic expression, that means that we're going to get an actual answer at the end here. Everything's going to combine. Now, the other thing I want to point out here is that evaluate is also known as substitution. So we can substitute things in. So I use those words interchangeably, but that's what we're doing here. Now, what are we doing with this? Well, I'm going to go ahead and just highlight this to you. I'm telling you what A equals, what B equals, what C equals. So all you have to do is rewrite it, but rewrite it in a way for you guys to have everything exactly the same as it was originally. The only difference is that instead of the letters, we're going to go ahead and put the variables, we're going to put the numbers. So I'm going to start here where it says A equals 2. So A equals 2 is right here, and that means anywhere where there's A, I'm going to replace it with the number 2. So for this one here up at the beginning, it's A squared. So instead of putting that, I'm going to put 2 squared. And whenever we substitute a variable, I want us to have a habit of putting it in parentheses. This is going to come in handy later on. This doesn't have to indicate multiplication, but it is a good habit to have, so that way you understand when a sign or something belongs to a particular variable. The next one says B plus 6. Well, in this problem here, B is only in one spot right next to the 3 times. So I'm going to replace that B here with a 6. Then again, we have the minus A. Well, we know that A is 2. And then the plus 5 stays the same. The divided by, the parentheses, they all stay the same. And then finally, we have a C, which is 4. And so they tell me that C is 4, so I'm going to replace that C with the number 4. And now I have totally rewritten this problem. There's no more variables in this problem, so I am going to get an exact answer at the end. And then you have to do the order of operations, which they discuss here. So the first step here, you have to do the parentheses. So we're going to multiply 3 by 6. And so 3 times 6 is what? It's 18. And then it says here, subtract 2 from 18 because of order of operations inside the parentheses. 18 minus 2 is 16, and then 16 plus 5 is 21. Now, please notice that this 2 squared and this 4 divided by 4 hasn't been touched because we're still working inside the parentheses. Now that there's only a single number in there, I'm going to go ahead and now start to work on the outside. So evaluate 2 squared. Well, 2 times 2 is 4. And then I'm going to go ahead and multiply 4 times 21 because I have to move left to right because multiplication and division are at the same level. So 4 times 21, you could go ahead and work that out. 1 times 4 is 4, and then 2 times 4 is 8. Then we have to go ahead and finish this out by doing 84 divided by 4. 4 goes into 8 2 times and goes into 4 1 time, meaning our final answer is 21. So again, once you have it all set up where there's no more variables, we only have numbers, then you just do the order of operations to solve it like usual. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this additional example problem here. I'm going to go ahead and just start replacing it. So it says B, and B in this problem is 6. So I'm going to replace that with a 6. And then 9 minus, and it says C is 8. So I'm going to put an 8 here, over A squared. And so A is 4 here, so I'm going to put 4 squared. And then I'm going to just do order of operations. So I'm going to do the numerator first. 9 minus 8 is 1. I didn't touch this 6, so I leave it alone. I replace 9 minus 8 with 1. And then 4 squared is 16. 6 times 1 is 6. And 6 and 16 have a GCF, so let's go ahead and look through it. So 4 doesn't work, but 2 does. So let's go ahead and divide. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 6 divided by 16 is 8, and I cannot reduce that fraction anymore. 3 over 8 is the final answer. So again, your first step here in step number 1 is to go ahead and replace this, then go ahead and do the order of operations. Let's go ahead and go to the practice section of, for example 5, and I'm going to just work 1 or 2 out of them with you guys, and then we're going to practice in class together. So I have g plus 6t. So it says up here, g is 2. So I'm going to go ahead and replace this g with the 2 plus 6 times t. T is 11, so 6 times 11. Now that I have no more variables, I'm going to now do order of operations. Order of operations says multiplication first. 6 times 11 is 66. And then 2 plus 66 is 68, making 68 our final answer. Okay, let's go ahead and do number 45. So same idea, just replace it. That's the first step. 2 times t. T is 11, so it's going to be 2 times 11. Please note, I am still keeping it in parentheses because of my order of operations. Plus 3 times g. It says g is 2, so I'm going to put a 2 here. And then divide by 4 on the outside. And then now I have to do order of operations. So I'm going to go ahead and do the inside. 2 times 11 is 22. 3 times 2 is 6. 22 plus 6 is 28. And 28 now outside of parentheses. You can leave it in parentheses, but it's just a 28, so you don't need it anymore. 28 divided by 4 is 7. So this is my final answer.